So we've come to a place, Ollie's taken me up to a place called, be kind enough to pronounce it please in Polish,
Szubienica.
Szubieniczne. And in German this was known as Galgenberg, I believe, but in Polish obviously Szubieniczne. It's known as Gallows Hill. Now this would be an incredible place for an investigation based on the history of the place. It's like a prominent hill in Jelenia Góra, and you can see right across the valley. So a lot of people would have been able to see what was going on here. A really dark history. In the Middle Ages, was it like several hundred years ago, 300-400 years ago? It was a site for public executions, and this is where they used to hang people. And they've done loads of excavations here and found human remains as well. So all kinds of people, murderers, criminals, heretics. There's even talk that witches and things like that were hung here as well. And yeah, they were left here and buried. So yeah, quite an interesting place. I think this would be a really good place to come for an investigation, this site here. There's no question about it. But yeah, we're right in the middle of the edge of the city. It's not a city actually. Jelenia Góra is more of a town, isn't it? It's the longest town in Poland.
Yeah, almost 40 kilometers.
Almost 40 kilometers. And we're heading out into the mountains shortly, but we just thought we'd take a quick detour to here. This is only a few minutes away from where we're staying in that hotel as well. But I think as an outdoor excavation site, you're going to get a few better than this, given the amount of history it's got attached to it over several hundred years, all the way from the Middle Ages, all the way up, I think, into the mid part of the 17th century when it became like a garrison site. But yeah, interesting place.
I know the entry to the tunnels are here.
Yeah, I've heard about the tunnels as well.
Time gate.
I just find it incredible that these places, I mean, even to look at it with the excavations, and you can see just,
If you want, we can come back here at night.
yeah, maybe
Before the
I think it would be a really good place to come back and look at.
after we go to that viewpoint, we can come back here and go home.
Yeah, yeah. This would, like I say, because it's so easy just to think when you got to go to a haunted castle or a ruined building, but it's sites like this which are like, these are the number one type places you should really be exploring and things. It really is incredible to think that this like existed for hundreds and hundreds of years, and people were brought up here, all kinds of people, criminals, just people who didn't fit in. At the time of the great like sort of witch hunt persecution in Europe as well, they were probably all brought up here. Well, witches were generally burned at the stake, weren't they? So, but this would be, yeah, just an incredible sight. And just to think, yeah, I think even back then, I don't even think there was many trees here. Maybe I'm wrong.
The pictures, like the drawings from that time.
Yeah, yeah, there wouldn't have been trees because these trees are relatively recent. Yeah, it was just barren hillside.
Here we are here.
Yeah, so
and
you
here's the town.
Yeah, you can just see it just perched up. So we're stood just behind this now, looking down over that town. So yeah, very few trees. The trees were recently planted, so. And who knows? Who knows what goes on up here, you know, in terms of just the amount of human energy, terrible energy that's been expended here, grief, killings, everything, all on this one spot.
And I think that not many people come here, you know. Not many people know about this place, so you can actually find something here.
Yeah, this is quite some sighting. Obviously with the moon being out tonight as well, almost a full moon, I think we're going to come back here, maybe spend an hour here tonight. So yeah, for sure.
We're gonna take the dog as an indicator.
Yep.
Cold.
It's very cold, and we are on our way back out to the site we went to earlier today. It's around 9:30 now. It's minus,
Let's see.
gotta be -6, -7. Yeah.
No, it's Wrocław.
-6. It feels colder.
Feels like -8.
Yeah, definitely. But we're going back to that site that we were at today. The site on the hillside where they used to hang people, and where all of the skeletal remains were found in and around that mound. So we're going to go there. Should arrive by about 9:30, and we're going to do an investigation. Got the equipment, and see how long we can last, really. But we've got obviously the normal equipment that I bring, all of the Amazon specials, but we've also got, where is she? Special guest, Tola. Yeah, well, oh, there she is. So Tola's coming with us as well, and she might well help out with some extra sensory perception. So anyway, we'll be there soon. So we're picking our way up the hill, and straight away, didn't it feel a bit, the atmosphere?
It's scary.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's like but it's to be expected going into these places at night. Very natural for it to take over. Bit more of be a bit more suspicious about them and things like that, but yeah, it just felt straight away as we crossed the road and approached the bank to walk up through the trees. You could just feel like this obvious dread. So interestingly, Tola, on the way here, the dog, she was very wary. She was on alert, looking into the trees on either side of the road by the hotel. So it'll be very interesting to see whether she's feeling the same way about being up here. So anyway, we'll be there very soon. Get set up. It's pitch black pretty much. I mean, there is a main road about 300-400 meters away, but where we're going to be, hopefully it'll be a bit buffeted from that. Freezing cold though, very cold. So we'll probably give it around an hour here. I'm going to set the equipment up. We'll do everything. In terms of, there's a little bit of a wind, a little bit of a breeze, whereas there wasn't earlier, but it seems to be cutting across those hills there. Hopefully it won't impact the equipment too much, but anyway, I'll come back in a moment. So we're approaching the site now. There's a little bit of illumination here as well, as we see these street lamps. Oh, that's good. We've got a little bit of light. And here we are, we're back at the very famous hanging site, Jelenia Góra, over hundreds of years. Cold?
No, it's okay.
Okay, well, we're going to get set up now and start and see how we feel here. Start like a little mini investigation. Hopefully kids with Suplice won't bother us too much. Okay, back in a moment. Okay, so sadly, this is where the audio recording for the investigation stopped. I didn't turn on my Bluetooth on my receiver, so it's one of those, but it's still worth kind of narrating what happened across the investigation. There was potentially some activity which I'll come through. Now, I haven't watched this video in its entirety, but yeah, like I say, the place where we were it was very cold. It was getting -7, -8. We were on top of the Gallows hill, and we set the equipment up. We were sat down, just kind of like finding our feet, getting a sense. Like Ollie likes to like sit and just enjoy the experience, or not enjoy the experience, but just tie into the energy of the place. And just to recap on what this place was, it's a really interesting site because it has several hundred years of history. That area was a place where, as I said on the earlier video, they would pretty much execute anyone that had been found guilty of things like, well, it might be crime, all the way through to witchcraft. And the witchcraft trials there took place like within part of the broader great witch hunt that swept through Cilicia in Central Europe during the 16th and 17th century. So that site had a good few hundred years of existence during a time of, major like trade and religious tension and things like that. And obviously on that like interface between Poland and Germany, there was a lot of change socially, politically as well. And what was interesting, what I read about a little bit later on, was the earliest execution there for witchcraft was in 1519. And it set a legal precedent in the area, because I believe it was the very first example of someone being executed for being a witch. And it turned out it was a woman and her son. And they were accused of sorcery, consorting with spirits and things. So they weren't hanged there, which was reserved for the thieves and criminals, but they were burnt at the stake at the base of where the gallows was, which was the pretty typical punishment for witchcraft. So the whole place has a rich, deep history, which extended right the way up into the 17th century, when during the height of the 30 Years' War and things like that, with all of the social upheavals, outbreaks of bubonic plague across loads of different places in Europe, and all the economic upheaval at the time as well. But there was a lot of people that were executed for witchcraft there. So perfect place to go and set up and just feel what we can feel, see what we can maybe see, and like I say, just set the equipment up as well. So yeah, I stood there for quite some time. The equipment was set up, and we kind of sat back and waited just for things that might happen. Now, again, this is really tricky for me to kind of give a blow-by-blow account on what happened on the excavation, on the investigation. I just do remember obviously it's hard to tell whether there was any atmosphere there, because it was such a freezing cold night anyway. So I don't want to read too much into that. And it's really hard, I think, to like immerse yourself in an area like that when it's really super cold and things as well. So, but I'm just kind of like looking, and I might even cut some of this short and just edit it. But yeah, there you can see my DJI mic mini is got the blue light on, so I'm not connected. What a stupid mistake. But yeah, what I was doing here was pretty much what I've just done now, which is just give like a bit of a historical insight onto the area, which kind of serves the purpose for here really. But I think at this point Ollie was just sat down listening to my yapping on, and I was sort of just setting the tone and the context for what was going on. So this is the next section where the investigation started in earnest, and I think I can just make out the EMF meter is set up, the REM pod was set up, and some spirit balls were set up as well. And at this point we were actually just sat in complete silence, just getting trying to tie ourselves into the place, get a feel for the energy and things. I remember at the time as well, Tola, the dog, just seemed very, very happy, wasn't sort of on edge or picking up any extra sense of the place, which was strange because on the way down she did. As we left the hotel and walked between this patch of woodland that the hotel was situated in, and we were cutting our way down the path, she just stopped and she was looking into the woods. She definitely picked something up, so we thought, there you go. That's what you need on an investigation. You need something with a sixth sense that can hear things. But when she was up here, there was just nothing that pricked her ears or got her attention whatsoever. Now, I do recall very soon, and I think it'll come up, one of the spirit balls gets triggered, and I remember I think Ollie put this one down, and it was in a really sheltered place. What you can see there in the middle distance, that's just lights down in Jelenia, Góra. There's a spirit ball. So the spirit ball got triggered, and there was a little bit of wind, but it was blowing over from the town over the top. So I think it was, did the wind blow it? No. Could a backdraft have blew it? Yes. Could it have rolled off something? No, because it was situated nestled within a little flat area. So there's me just getting up to go over and have a look, just check to see how it was spaced and things. But yeah, and you can still make out the lights down in Jelenia, Góra there. That's some good few kilometers in the distance there. They aren't spirit balls or anything. There's Tola. She's quite chilled out, handling the cold really well. And she's just keeping alert. But she wasn't fazed by anything at all, and there was no one in the area. So yeah, that's it. Going back to the investigation area, going back to the seating area, I should say, just so we can get a look out over where the structure was that they used to hang people from. So yeah, as a site, it is quite an interesting one, because it basically was a place that served as an execution site for several hundred years, and all of the excavations there as well that have uncovered quite a lot of human remains as well, quite sadly as well, as they were just left discarded. They weren't given burials by the look of things. They were a mixture of criminals and witches by all accounts, but yeah, there's the dog. Yeah, not too fazed, not too surprised, super chilled out. Kind of probably thinking the only weird things that are going on was us two sat there in the freezing cold. But yeah, I'm not picking up anything on camera. Again, I've got it on a small view. Maybe when I fully watch it, there might be something that we see, but that's snow coming down as well, so they aren't orbs before anyone loses their mind over it, going, oh my god, look at all the orbs. No, nothing like that. Just innocent snow. But yeah, for the most part here, we were pretty much just sat in silence. And I think at one point I do get the spirit box out, which would have been good to listen to. But even though I don't recall anything happening with the spirit box at all. But yeah, I just have the torchlight there just shining over, giving us a little bit of pool of light over the structure itself. And I believe nothing else happened. There was no REM pod activity. There was no EMF activity. There was just that one physical flash of a spirit ball stroke cat ball stroke Amazon tat. But come on, I mean, look, I mean, I know that these sorts of investigation tools have people view the importance of them and their application quite differently, but you know, this has to be fun as well, doing these investigations. I think it's fun to go out to sites and to use what equipment we have, and if it's used in a honest way. So if you put the equipment out and you are deliberately trying your very best to make sure that there can't be any enhancement of false positives, so you're not leaving it on a imperfect surface, for example, so that, you know, if there is any movement, you can basically say that, well, it's very much likely down to the surface it's being placed on, as opposed to something physically moving it or triggering the electrics within there. So I think a lot of this comes from just having integrity about how you use the equipment, and also having the integrity to honestly ask yourself, could there be a more rational explanation as to why a spirit ball has been moved, or why a REM pod has been triggered? For example, the REM pod that I've used quite a lot, which is understandably probably one of the crap ones, but I haven't got one of the better ones yet. You know, that can be triggered by slight changes in the wind, in the breeze. And I've even noticed that myself a couple of times when it's gone off, and I've thought, well, there's a rational explanation here as to why it's gone off. And you just have to call that out and look at what environmental factors could be setting off this equipment, because like I say, it's not high-end stuff. Likewise, even the use of these things, the spirit boxes. I mean, what is this? It's a radio scanner that we were using on this night to scan the AM frequency at quite a fast speed, and Ollie was speaking in Polish. There was no questions asked in English. And again, find these, out of everything, I find these the least believable in terms of what results they give back. But the reason I quite like to use it's just because it adds a little bit of fun to the experience. And interestingly, my most incredible evidence that I've ever found or recorded on video happened when I was doing a spirit box, as I was asking questions, and something was recorded on video that wouldn't have been recorded, because if I hadn't been doing the spirit box, because I wouldn't have been recording it then. So I think they're an additional tool to use, but not take too seriously. So again, when you get like a broken word back from a radio station, I think sometimes, yeah, you can be reading tea leaves with these things and kind of really overstating what actually is being said. And again, there's more logical explanations as to what's coming through on this type of thing. But who knows? I can't even remember this one now. I'm obviously pointing to it, perhaps just explaining how it works. But so yeah, I just turned the torch off there. Actually, it's quite nice with the torch off. You can get a nice ambient light there, and who knows? There might be something even picked up on this video, which would be great if it is. But so far, we've only had that one movement of a spirit ball. So yeah, like I say, out of the spirit balls, I think there's a time and place to use them. You've got to be really rigorous with how you use them. And like I say, when I've used them as well, I've had a couple of occasions where they've been thrown off a surface. Now, can I rule out it being wind? There's always a chance. There's always a chance that it could be wind. There might just be that rare gust of small, localized back gust or something like this that causes it to move. But it's happened twice to me in the same investigation area at the Priory, where much of the activity I've recorded has taken place. And on one occasion, I watched it literally get picked up and thrown off as opposed to roll off, which was insane. And it was absolutely insane. And that brings me on to the EMF meter, because in that same spot, again at the Priory, the EMF meter was triggered on 2 investigations ago there. Again, using the EMF meter, I think there's again some value to them. I've only ever had one triggering of the EMF meter, and that was 2 investigations ago at the Priory, which again, I cannot explain other than something has interacted with it to some degree, because this is outdoors. It is big sandstone castle walls. There is no electrics anywhere near. There was no wind to really speak of. There was no movement from me that could have influenced it going off, and it went off, and I saw it go off. I just wish I could have been quicker getting my GoPro out of my pocket. So yeah, like I say, that pretty much covers the 4 things that I use on these investigations. Definitely don't mind using this little spirit box. It's good fun. Quite like to place the spirit balls, even though again, some of them, when you move them yourself, they don't trigger if you want to test them, whereas others do trigger. So again, because they're so poorly made, because it's largely just mass-produced nonsense from China, some of them just simply don't work that accurately or that consistently. So I think what I need to do is find some better ones that are a little bit more sensitive. So yeah, I quite like using them if they're used sensibly. The EMF meter, I think I might even pick another one up, because as long as they are used in an area where nothing can influence them, they seemingly do work. I've had one instance, like I say, where it was triggered. And lastly, the REM pod, I think, yeah, I quite like them as well. I've had them triggered quite a bit on winter's nights, summer's nights when there's been no wind. And I've posted a couple of videos of it on a flat, still summer night. It literally communicating with me almost in Morse code. Really, really bizarre. So that's the 4 sort of little bits of gear that I use. Obviously, taking video is really important because you just don't know what might come up and get shown. But with regards to anything else, like all of these, I don't even know what they're called, but I think I downloaded a couple on my phone. Let's have a quick look. And I downloaded them and I just thought they were crap straight away. Things like GhostTube, which are effectively just databases of words, of stored words, that are then repeated back in a spooky, scary way. I just think they are crap and not worth anything. And there's another one as well. What is it? GhostTube SLS, is it? Where it's like a camera alternative that's meant to show up humanoid figures, and it makes them look like little geometric stick insects, and they are crap as well. They can pick up anything that's structurally similar to the human form and just give you so many false positives. And I just don't think they are worth anything of value at all. Anyway, probably a bit of a digression really, but I just wanted to explain how I've used this equipment and what I've had back from it on some of my investigations. But here, yeah, so far,
was quite a calm, quite a serene night, and other than that one spirit ball being triggered, we didn't really pick anything up whatsoever. The atmosphere didn't feel particularly negative or anything. Again, you got to wonder whether, because it's on such a sub-zero temperature, whether it's just wicking out all of the available sort of passive energy in the atmosphere, and you just don't know what the explanations are. But maybe just this place just doesn't carry anything at all. But or at least if it does, it didn't present itself to us tonight in a significant way. But yeah, and I didn't feel particularly put off or scared by the whole experience. But anyway, I'll wrap it up there. That should do it. Next video has full audio, so I'll pop that up soon.